like we're, oh, there we go.
Okay.
All right. Well, again, thank you everyone again for joining us here Monday for our Ethics Day training. We're so excited to be returning to a live edition of Ethics Day. It's been since 2019 was the last time we were able to bring the senior class of South Lakes High School in person for a traditional presentation of Ethics Day. And it's awesome to see so many of you here on the call here for the training. For those that I've not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Charles Kapoor. I'm the president and CEO here at the Greater Reston Chamber. And on the call and leading the training, I want to thank and welcome Kate Fulkerson, one of the co-chairs for our Ethics Day Planning Committee. Kate, thank you so much for all of your efforts and support for so many years of making Ethics Day a reality. And certainly for bringing it back here today. And I also have on the call Alicia Field, who is our director of events here at the Chamber, who's been working so closely with Kate on making Ethics Day an in-person event that we're looking forward to on January 5th. Want to take a moment and just give a couple of shout outs and thanks. In addition to Kate, I'd also like to thank her co-chair for the Planning Committee for Ethics Day, Chris Farrow of Leidos. They have been a dynamic duo for many, many years in producing Ethics Day. Definitely want to thank all of you as our volunteers. This event, an event of this magnitude, is just simply not possible without the volunteers that are committed to be able to create the ultimate experience for our students that are going to be participating in Ethics Day. And then lastly, I want to mention the great sponsors who have helped invest in
I checked with family and they agreed that TNC do not
to make this event possible. I see many of you on the call. So I want to thank our sponsors for Ethics Day, which include Google, the Reston Community Center, Leidos, Mickey Moravitz of Century 21 New Millennium, Sandy Spring Bank, the law firm of Walsh, Colucci, Lubelli, and Walsh, and our friends at Wegmans for their role in providing the lunches for the senior class. And now with that being said, let's get to the meat of today's presentation. And let me turn it over to Kate and Alicia.
Thank you so much, Charles. I'm going to ask everybody on the call for a favor. If you could mute yourselves for the time being, we're going to have some Q&A toward the end. Just want to make sure that you know that we're videotaping all of this, so any side conversations can be heard in the background. And we know we have a number of people who are going to be viewing this later, so as they weren't able to attend a day at 1 o'clock. So if you don't mind muting for just a minute, that would be great. And I promise to get to all the questions as we get toward the end. Very honored to have you all here. Thank you for volunteering your time to be a table leader at the 31st Annual Ethics Day program. We had a small hiccup over the past few years because of COVID. We've been doing this virtually. We get to come back in person, and we're really, really excited about that. Charles just mentioned this a moment ago, but we are going to be, it's Friday, January the 5th is the event. We need you to come to the Hyatt Regency Reston on President Street for check-in between 9 and 9:30 a.m. We promise to have a coffee service available upon arrival. And it's my understanding that we're going to be giving you guys money when you get there to pay for parking, for crying out loud. So when you're at Town Center, if you're parking outside of the Hyatt Regency and someplace else in the parking area, you'll be able to pay for your parking when you leave for the day. So we wanted to make sure you were taken care of there. But again, Friday, the 5th of January, 2024, starting off the new year right, 9 to 9:30 a.m. check-in so that we can get you oriented and get you to your room. And when you check in, one of the first things you're going to receive is a folder similar to this. It's going to be a colored folder, either blue, green, or red. And it's going to say, the blue room and a number. And that number corresponds to the table that you're going to be starting your day at. So let's talk a little bit about what that looks like too. So schedule of opening events. These are things that are happening within the first hour that you're there. Again, coming in at between 9 and 9:30 is great, so that you can grab your materials and get directly, to your room, grab a cup of coffee, get settled, and get comfortable. While that's going on, the students are going to be boarding buses from South Lakes, and it's the senior class that we get to see. So it's really fantastic that they get to spend the day with us. They love getting away from school as well. They're going to be boarding buses, get over to, not the Sheraton, I apologize for that because we are at the Hyatt Regency, so ignore what you see there. I haven't had a chance to update that, I apologize. But they're going to come to the Hyatt. When they get off the bus and they walk in the doors, the counselors, teachers from South Lakes are going to hand each student a particular color piece of paper, either going to be red, blue, or green. And that corresponds to the room that they're going to be starting in. Of course, the very first thing that they do, as soon as they get a hold of those colored cards, is they begin switching them with each other because they want to be with their friends. That's normal. We understand that. So they're going to get to the room. And when they sit down at your table, they're going to randomly sit down wherever they go. You've got your packet of materials, and with your room facilitator, each room has a facilitator. After they see the students have settled down, are going to ask you to open up this folder and take out the name tags. So you're going to distribute those name tags to each of the students. They're going to write their name on them, and each name tag has got a number on it, which corresponds to a table in the room. The facilitator is going to thank the students, make sure everybody's got their name tags on, and then they're going to ask the students to look at that name tag and to go to the corresponding table. You're going to hear some moans and groans because they hope that they were sitting with their friends. But we do this on purpose. We break them up to sit with other people so they have the benefit throughout the day and the things that they're seeing and learning about with Ethics Day to get to see some other perspective. Because if you sit with the same group of people, you kind of have that group think. Everybody's thinking the same thing. So it's important that we split them up, give them an opportunity to maybe meet somebody in the senior class that they've seen before, but they've never had a chance to interact with. Once they get settled at their new assigned seat for the day, and that's the most important thing, is they stick with you through the entirety of the day. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. Then you're going to be asked by the facilitator to take out an attendance sheet that again is in the folder that you'll receive when you come in. And you're going to write the names of the students that are with you at that table so that you can make sure that they follow you throughout the day. You'll have an opportunity to introduce yourself to them, again, with the attendance sheets, and then the facilitators are going to start the morning. So what does this mean for you, and what does it mean to be a table leader? So your responsibilities as a table leader include helping really to facilitate group discussion among 8 to 10 students that'll be at your table. And it's really making sure everyone has a chance to be heard and gets to kind of soak in everything that they're learning, because this is a very interactive program for the students. We keep them moving. As I mentioned before, you're going to be taking attendance of your group at the start of each module. So you're not going to stay in the same room the whole day. You will be advancing to the other 2 rooms. So you'll get to see all 3 modules that we've put together to get the students thinking about making difficult choices, doing the right thing, taking things into consideration that they might not have before. The next thing that you're going to be doing is you want them to complete a program evaluation at the conclusion of Module 3. And you're also going to be completing a program at the conclusion of Module 3. Something brand new that we have never done before, now that we're in the digital age. Students and yourself will be able to complete that evaluation electronically. So you'll be given a QR code that you can show the students that they can scan for their program evaluation, and you can scan for yourself to take the evaluation as well. So we're very excited about that. So facilitating group discussion, taking attendance, having them complete a program evaluation as well as you are the key duties that you have. Let me give you some pro tips on this. It's very important that each student gets an opportunity to share their perspective. So one of the jobs that you have as the table leader is to make sure that each of the 8 to 10 students have an opportunity to lend their perspective. And even if that, in a typical meeting, because I'm sure you've done this many times yourselves, that you're leading meetings at work, you want to go to each student and say, what do you think? What is your opinion? Do you have a different perspective? The other thing that's very important is you do not want to judge their decisions. There are going to be times during the day where you're going to be really impressed with these students, because these guys are really smart, and they've experienced and they've seen a lot, but they might come to some conclusions that might not match with what you would have done. And so you want to keep that to yourself. You just want to engage them in the conversation, get them thinking about what's going on. You also don't want to give away the answer. It's really up to them to come up with the answer. And the materials that we'll be sending to you will help guide. We've got some kind of leading questions that'll help. Also, your room facilitators are fantastic. They're going to help pull out the information from the students, but you want to make sure you hear from everybody. Also, between modules, take the time to engage them. Ask about how their holiday break was, what they want to do in the future, etc. These are young adults. They're getting ready to go out into the workforce, go to college, whatever the case might be. They have a lot to add. And sometimes what I've seen over time, and I've been doing this for the chamber for over 20 years, and what the students want is to be treated like adults. They want to be talked to like adults, even though they look younger. They don't have as many experiences as we do. They have a lot to say, and they have a lot to give. So do take the opportunity, to have a conversation and to get to know them when you can. Now, the modules. There are 3 different modules that we have that are going to be set up in each of the different 3 ballrooms that you're going to be going to. And those modules, the folks who are doing those modules stay in that room, who are might be acting out, the facilitators stay in the room. And what you're going to do at the end of every module is go to the next one. So you'll get the opportunity to see all 3 with your students. So the first one that we have, it's been a very popular favorite over the years. It's probably always gets the highest ratings as the courtroom. And in the courtroom, we have a judge. We have a real judge, juvenile court judge. We have 2 lawyers who are playing the defense attorney and prosecuting attorney. And we have some folks who are playing in roles of actors. You're going to see a courtroom scene played out before you. This one happens to be a drinking and driving episode. And the students are going to see this courtroom, they act out in front of me. I don't want to give too much of it away, because I want you to be able to see the script when it comes to you. But the bottom line is, after they're presented with all of the evidence, each table, so if you're at blue, table 14, your group of 8 to 10 students is going to pretend like they're the jury. And they have to decide whether the accused is guilty or not. And then they have to come up with what the sentencing would be. And what's going to happen in that room is the facilitator is going to help lead discussion along with the judge, along with the other 2 attorneys, as to what could have happened as opposed to what did happen. What other choices did the student have who was drinking and driving? And just so you're aware, it's a drinking and driving scenario where you have one young person, 2 young people are going off someplace together. One does not know they're going to a party. One that doesn't know they're going to a party thinks they're going to the library. The driver, teen, takes them to a party, proceeds to get drunk. So the one who thinks they're going to the library ends up driving the car back. They only have a learner's permit. They're not real familiar with the car, and they get into an accident. What happens is the young woman who was drunk dies. It's awful. The young woman who decided to drive home, not having had one drink, not real familiar with the car, ends up being tried for manslaughter. So the students are presented with a very real world scenario for them as to what they could have done differently. And there are a lot of different opinions that are going to come out as how could we have done this differently and this didn't happen. So that's one room. The next room is another one of my absolute favorites, is the organ donation room. And organ donation is very precise today. Matches, you have to have an exact match. There's whole computer systems that do all of this. But in this room, what we're trying to show the students is how difficult it is to make a life or death decision. And it's really who is going to get a heart. And the students, again, are presented with 6 different people who need the heart, with different backgrounds, different interests, different pressures on life, things that they want to do. And they're going to do their best to convince a panel of who's making a judgment as who's going to get the heart, which are the students sitting. Your table leader students are going to have, you're going to be sitting with your students, and they're going to have to decide based on the evidence that's presented before them of the people the testimony they've given. Here's why I need the heart. Who's going to get it? The fun of this is that just about all of the actors that are doing this have done this before, and they have perfected their characters. So they'll change it up through the course of the day, which will be fun. But to see who gets the heart in the end is great. But it's a life and death choice that they're faced with. The more poignant part of this is about 15 years ago, we had a senior from South Lakes High School who went through Ethics Day program. And he was so moved by this room that when he went home for Thanksgiving break, or was at Thanksgiving, because we usually do this in the month of November, was talking with his family around the table and said, I want to be an organ donor. So, sorry, this always breaks me up. So he changed his driver's license to become an organ donor. Unfortunately, he died that summer, but he made a positive impact across the country. He saved 5 other lives. And that story will be told at the end of this module. Not every person can be an organ donor. There are different religions and cultures that don't allow for that. But it shows that it's making a life or death choice is very impactful for everyone. And you've got choices to help people out. Last but not least, sorry about that. That organ donation room is very near and dear to my heart, and it was very hard when we lost that student, and when we had the story of that. His mother used to be one of the facilitators for the room. So when we get to digital citizenship, this is a very interactive piece that Leidos, we're so blessed to have some experts from Leidos lead this room for us. They're trying to teach the students about the fact that what you put out in social media sticks with you and makes an impact. And being interactive in this room, they're actually going to use their phones to vote on different things. They're going to give different perspectives. And it's a fantastic room. It's really impressive. Again, two wonderful people from Leidos will be going through different scenarios, statistics. Here's what happens when something shows up later, making sure that the students know now and into the future, be mindful about what you put out on social media and the ultimate impact that it can have. We used to have 4 rooms. We've narrowed it down to 3 because we have always wanted to make sure we've given each module, an opportunity to fully play out, because sometimes there are a lot of questions and conversations. And these 3 rooms have always just hit the ball out of the park every time. So You're going to get a soft copy of all of the scripts for each of the 3 modules so that you have the opportunity to read through all of these ahead of time. You're going to get them by December the 22nd. Alicia and I are doing a little bit of fine tuning on the modules and making sure the scripts are nice and tight right now. We'll also have a hard copy available if you wish on the program day, or what we can do is make sure you've got a QR code so that you can get to it if you need to. We're trying to do what we can for the environment and reduce the amount of hard paper materials that we're putting together for the day. But make sure that you get a copy of that. You can bring that with you if you want, and we'll make sure if you need to have a copy, you will have that on program day. So at this point, I'm going to say thank you. I really appreciate you spending time with the students. It's invaluable. I know I've done table leader myself over the years. I have very much enjoyed the students, getting to know them. There are some that I've seen in the community that remember Ethics Day. They come up to me, grocery store, it might be a town center, something like that, saying, hey, I really had a great time. In fact, there was a chamber event about a month ago, and we were, for new members who were coming in, it was kind of a networking and introduction to the chamber. And there was a student that we had, unbeknownst to us, there was somebody in the back of the room and said, hey, if you're interested in Ethics Day and helping with it, let us know. This young man raised his hand. He said, I remember Ethics Day. It was so impactful, and I can't wait to be a part of it. You really will be making a difference in their lives, over that entire day. But when you see them too, it's very impactful. And I know I appreciated it when I saw them. I wish they had Ethics Day when I was at South Lakes High School. I graduated back in '85, a while back, but it's a fantastic program. The chamber has done a great job keeping it going. Something I did not mention earlier, students will be in business casual dress. Encourage you to do the same, just as if you were going into the office or meeting a client or something like that. They're going to be trying to look their best when they come in and spend the day with us. Try and be present with them. Take time in between modules if you're not talking with the students to get to know them. If you need to check, work email, things like that, please do that in between modules and make sure you're present with them, during these different scenarios. They're looking at you. They're looking to you as well. Now, I'll be quiet. Alicia, do we have any questions?
It looks like we did have one question. What if the student does not have a phone to use during digital citizenship room module?
Ooh, that's a good question. Then I would, and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, if it's a table vote or an individual vote. If you happen to have your phone with you and want to let them enter something in, that would probably be the best way to handle that.
Right, and I think we might change it up a little bit. I know in the past, it was just more fun for some quick polls and things like that. So it's by no means mandatory. And if, 1 or 2 students aren't able to participate in that manner, they don't actually want to, it shouldn't skew the results. It just really helps guide the conversation. But that's Absolutely. A great question.
Yeah. Anything else? Hopefully this was helpful. If it doesn't make sense, don't hesitate to reach out to Alicia and I. We'd be happy to come back and answer any questions that you may have. Your time spending the day with us is invaluable. And thank you for your interest in this program. Again, 31 years and strong. So it's unique. That's the unique part about the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce, is that they try to show, the students what the business community does for them, and you get a chance to really get to know the future workforce.
Well, Kate, on behalf of the staff, thank you so much for leading today's training session. And again, thank you to all of the volunteers. The anecdote that you shared about the event we ran recently where we had a graduate of South Lakes Ethics Day, is something that pops up a lot. It's amazing how many folks in our business community were affected by Ethics Day, either as a participant or they were parents of students who participated. So I would just ask everyone, those of you on this call, obviously we don't have to explain to you why this is so important, but I would definitely share this opportunity with your friends, your family, your business clients and contacts. It's the Friday after New Year's, so I'm hoping everyone's schedules are still pretty light coming out of the holidays, and you might know a couple of folks who can spare a few hours midday to participate. We could definitely use the hands, still plenty of room for volunteers. So we definitely would have you direct them to the chamber staff or to the registration on our website. And just another follow-up, I think we talked about at the beginning, parking. Yes, we will subsidize parking at Reston Town Center. For those that are not familiar, if you go to restontowncenter.com, you can take a look at their parking page. There's a variety of garages across the Reston Town Center. The blue garage is the closest to the Hyatt, and it's very affordable for parking. We will pay for you to park at any of the Reston Town Center parking garages. You can either use an app to register your stay, or every garage has a kiosk as soon as you leave the garage for you to start your stay if you don't have or don't wish to use the Park RTC app. So happy to do that for everyone. That is a little bit different than parking at the Hyatt. They are not part of the Reston Town Center, but I believe Alicia will be sending out all of those details in follow-up emails to everyone. And barring any other questions, I guess, Alicia, are we good to wrap up?
We are indeed.
Fantastic. Thank you again, everyone, for your time. Have a prosperous week ahead. And if we don't talk soon, happy holidays to you and your families.
Thank you.